Have you ever tried to figure out how online betting actually works in Germany? Man, it can feel like a maze. Well, that's why we're here. We've gone through all the top sources, we've read the first 10 articles on Google so you don't have to, and we've boiled it all down into one essential guide. Let's jump right in.
Okay, so let's cut right to the chase with the one question that's on everyone's mind. Is it even legal to place a bet online in Germany? You might be surprised by the answer.
So, the short answer is yes, it is legal. But, and this is a really big but, it all operates under some very specific, very important rules. And trust me, knowing these rules isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential if you want to bet safely and, legally.
To help make sense of it all, here's our game plan. We'll tackle the big question of legality. Then we'll dive into the official rulebook. After that, we'll check out the playing field, go through a quick guide for players, and finally, help you find your spot.
All right, first up, let's get a handle on Germany's overall betting landscape. The main thing you need to get right away is that this is not some kind of Wild West, free-for-all situation. Not at all.
So, if there's one thing you take away from this section, let it be this. Legality isn't a simple yes or no across the board. It really boils down to two key things. First, what you're betting on, think sports versus casino games, and second, where you are, because each German state can have its own little twists on the rules.
So where do all these complex rules actually come from? Well, they pretty much all trace back to one single central piece of legislation. This is the foundation for the entire industry in Germany.
It's called the German Interstate Treaty on Gambling. It's been in effect since 2012, and this is the law, the big one, that legalized certain kinds of online betting and created the national framework that every single operator and player has to follow.
Now here's something you really need to keep in mind. This law isn't set in stone. The treaty is actually being revised as we speak, which means the rules we're talking about today could change. They could evolve, and that might open the door for different kinds of betting in the very near future.
Okay, so we've got the law, but what does it actually mean for you? What can you legally bet on? Let's get into the specifics of what's actually on the playing field.
The treaty is pretty clear about what's allowed on a national level. It basically gives a green light to three main categories: sports betting, betting on horse races, and of course, state lotteries.
And this right here, this brings us to the most important split in German betting law. On one side, you've got online sports betting. It's legal, it's widely available from licensed sites, but it's got its own rules. On the other side, you have online casino games and poker. Now these are way more restricted. In fact, they're generally not allowed by that main treaty, with one big exception: if a specific state has passed its own separate law to allow them.
Okay, now that we've covered what's legal to bet on, let's flip the script and focus on you, the player. What are the key rules you absolutely need to know? The first rule is the simplest, and it's a non-negotiable one. You have to be at least 18 years old. That's the legal age for any and all forms of betting and gambling in Germany, period. No exceptions.
And just so we're clear, this isn't some honor system. The operators are legally required to verify the age of every single person who signs up. Honestly, if you find a site that doesn't ask for verification, that's a huge red flag. Run the other way.
And now, of course, the question everyone wants the answer to. Let's say you win big. Does the tax man get a cut?
So, generally speaking, yes, your winnings can be taxed. However, and this is a really important detail, there is a personal exemption threshold. Winnings that fall below a certain amount are tax-free. Once you go over that line, though, you'll need to declare it.
All right, so you get the rules, you know what's what, and you're ready to find a place to bet. This brings us to our final, and I'd say most critical step: finding a safe and legal betting site.
I really want to pause on this for a second, because if you take away nothing else, remember this. You absolutely, positively have to make sure that any site you use is properly licensed and regulated by the German authorities. This is your #1 shield, your best protection.
Now, to make that a lot easier, our source for a lot of this info, betplace.us, has already done the heavy lifting for you. They've gone out and put together a vetted list of reputable and fully legal betting sites that operate in Germany, which includes really trusted names like Melbet. We've dropped a direct link to their recommended list right in the description below this explainer, along with a few other useful resources. It's truly the easiest way to ensure you're picking a safe, regulated, and legitimate operator.
So there you have it. The world of German online betting is legal, but it's very structured and it's constantly changing. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As these laws keep evolving, where do you think that line between player freedom and tight regulation is going to land in the future? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.